And excellent. We are live from OE Global in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm Ken Bauer, your virtual buddy for Virtually Connecting. And I'll hand it over to Martin there on site to introduce the people that are there locally.
Thanks, Ken. So I'm Martin Weller. We're here in Cape Town having a lovely time. So I'll just say why we're here. So the project, the OE Global Conference doesn't start until Tuesday. That's right. Tuesday, yeah. No, Wednesday. But we're here running the GO-GN seminar. So GO-GN is a network of PhD students who are researching in the open education, OER type space. It's funded by the Hewlett Foundation. And every year we bring together about sort of 10 or so students to have a 2-day seminar, and we do that before the conference starts. So that's why we're here. And I'll get two of those students introduce themselves.
Please, you go first.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Christina Ranti. I'm one of these lucky PhD students who is here in Cape Town with more colleagues from around the world. I'm an academic developer at Manchester Metropolitan University, and I'm doing research into the area of open education, specifically academic development and cross-institutional collaborations. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jameson Miller, and I am a PhD student at the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I too am studying open education through lenses of theory and policy as well as practice. And this is my second GO-GN seminar. Last year was in Poland, this year in South Africa, and it is just an amazing resource for graduate students who are trying to work through research projects in the space who are often isolated in our home institutions. We can finally start coming into a place where we can speak the same language as others.
Hi, I'm Amy Nelson. I'm in Blacksburg, Virginia, and delighted to be joining my first Virtually Connecting session. I'm part of the coordinating team for the Open Learning CMOOC that we're doing right now through American Association of College and Universities LEAP project, which has to do with the transformation of general ed. And I also teach a connected course to graduate students at our university on contemporary pedagogy.
Hi everyone, I'm Christian from Hamburg. In Germany, I work with Leuphana Digital School, which is part of Leuphana University, a public university here in northern Germany. And I also just started to take up some work as a freelance consultant. So, little advert right here. Which is part of Leuphana University, a public university here in northern Germany. And I also just started to take up some work as a freelance consultant. So, little advert right here. Which is part of Leuphana.
Yeah, I think could you please mute, because there's sort of a lag and we're hearing back what Christian was saying like a minute ago, I think, from your computer.
We're good. So continue on. Dominic.
Yeah, hi. My name's Dominic, not Dominique. I'm based in Germany. I've been working in various areas in OER. Working for the OECD, working at the moment in a working group for UNESCO, but also working on an interesting study with Martin Weller for the ICDE, where we're looking much more at kind of the broader perspective of using digital tools, but also different practices, including open, to change delivery of higher education. I'm also interested in GO-GN anyway, because I'm the third kind of supervisor or supporter of Igor Lesko on his PhD.
Deb?
Hi, everybody. My name is Debbie Bath, and I'm based in Wales. I live in Caerphilly, but I work in Swansea, which is like really far away. I'm a senior academic developer at Swansea University, and I've just started on my PhD journey. I'm literally in like my second month or something, so I'm really excited to be here and learn from you guys. So thank you.
Perfect. Penny, can you unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Penny Bentley. It's very early here in Melbourne, Australia. It's about 2:45 in the morning, so I've just sort of got up out of bed and put on something respectable. I'm in the 3rd year of my PhD, distance student at the University of Southern Queensland, and my focus is on open education as a means of professional learning for K-12 teachers who are teaching in the area of STEM education. And my theoretical framework is building upon the work of phenomenography, an area of learning research into the area of learning. So I've got some really interesting interviews. I'm just grinding away through the data analysis at the moment and having a go at writing up the thesis. So thanks for having me here, and it's great to be part of this. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mahabeli from the American University in Cairo in Egypt, and I'm the co-director of Virtually Connecting. And my feeling right now is, why wasn't I ever part of GO-GN? And when are they going to run the conference here in Egypt? The workshop or conference or whatever.
Thanks, Maha. And I'm Ken Bauer, coming in here from Guadalajara, Mexico, computer science professor, and I just like hanging out with all these cool people. And I'd like to know what's going on there in Cape Town. What are you all talking about?
Okay, so I'll tell you what we've been doing today, and then I'll let these two jump in. So we started off so part of the GO-GN is
Did we just lose them? I think so.
I think
Hold on.
we did, yeah.
We'll see if the stutter comes back.
I think so.
So there's virtual people here in GO-GN. Maybe people can jump in.
So Debbie and Dominic, right? You've been part of GO-GN? Or Penny, are you also part of GO-GN? I don't know.
Yes, I am Maha, and hopefully I can join in face to face next year. We'll see how it goes. See if I can make it over.
If I manage to get them here in Egypt, you mean?
Yeah.
Has it been? Do they support? Yeah, we definitely officially lost them, but I think they're back now.
They're coming back. The fun of the internet. Here comes James. It was perfect timing too. We had the pre-show and with no problems at all, and then boom.
Yeah, that's true. We had a whole half-hour pre-show that was fine.
Good.
Oh well. Debbie's just starting her PhD, right? And so how's GO-GN? Is it like how does it support you with your PhD? I mean, Penny's been doing it for a while, and Dominic actually does he supervises, right? So Jameson is writing a text chat, but not talking to us. We can't.
We can't get them on video yet. Well, what's your thoughts so far, Deb?
Yeah. Oh.
Well, they'll come back.
So tell us, Deb.
You're muted right now, Deb.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'd heard about the GO-GN through Chrissy Naranci, because obviously I've done a lot of work within the OER world, and I was thinking about doing a PhD, and she sort of suggested to me it would be a good network to tap into, really. So I joined as a kind of like an external member before I started on my PhD, and then when they accepted me on the course, then they kind of made me a full member. So I think now I'll be able to apply for help, maybe with travel to conferences like this sort of thing, I think, in the future. But as I say, it's very early days for me. I'm still not quite convinced. I've got this massive imposter syndrome going on at the minute. Which I'm sure you guys will all appreciate, but yeah, it's I'm kind of like, it really stunned by a lot of the stuff going on, and everything is kind of going way over my head and things at the minute. But I think it's brilliant to have this kind of network, in that, traditionally, obviously, you feel very lonely as a PhD student, and this can really help with that kind of stuff. So, oh, I can see Martin's face back. We're back.
Okay.
We can hear
back
you.
in on my laptop now.
Yeah, we can hear you, Martin.
but my camera's not working.
That's
Is that okay? Can you hear us okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
The sound's fine. So why don't you tell us about GO-GN?
Yeah, I assumed it was because I was being so boring. It just cut me off there. It was kind of so I was just saying about GO-GN. So the idea was to kind of raise the profile of research, but also to provide kind of support for these people. And increasingly, what we also try to do is, whereas it was about researching into OER, I'm also trying to promote the idea of open research practice as well, so people become much more open in the way they conduct their research. So it's both a process as well as a focus. So that's what we've been doing today. So we had a kind of introduction session this morning, and then today and tomorrow, it will all the students present about their research for 20 minutes question. And the idea of that is we've got people at different stages. Some people have finished their PhD, some are just about to write up, some are in their kind of very early stages and just thinking about the research questions. So it kind of brings them together and they give feedback to each other. And we've already made some really good connections. I think people are like, oh, I'm interested in theory X or a particular methodology, and I've been trying to find someone who else is interested in that, and people are connecting. So it's been really useful, I think, for that. We also run a bunch of the first Wednesday every month. We run a webinar. We try to get someone come in and give a presentation about a topic. So we have a kind of online community as well. So I'm going to stop talking now, and that may be Chrissy or Jameson talk about kind of what they found valuable from it or connections they've made through this. Would that be a good?
Yes, I mean, I joined the network quite late, but like I said earlier, I feel very fortunate to be part of this, because the connections I've made, I would never have made them on my own. Well, it wasn't possible. For example, Penny, yes, she's smiling there. I mean, we connected through the network and Twitter, and we have discovered that we both use phenomenography. So we have as a methodology for our project. So we have found it extremely valuable. And actually, Penny, what she did, and it's fantastic, as a result of our conversations, as our private conversations, she actually created an open community for phenomeноgraphers, which is small but has a big impact, I think, and has helped me personally enormously, because Penny is there, other practitioners, phenomeноgraphers from around the world, and we actually have also very experienced phenomeноgraphers among us. So often we share queries we share papers we have found, things we want to do, and get a peer, opinion from our peers globally. And I have found that extremely valuable. I don't know if Penny wants to add something to that, perhaps. Penny?
Chrissy, yes, I do. I find it very, very valuable, because I'm a distant student, so I don't have a group of students to hang out with, so I miss out on all that collegiality. And if I need to find anything, I just jump on Twitter or Facebook, and it's a fabulous resource for me. So we're in touch with some great experts, as Chrissy said, and to have Chrissy to share the difficult times with is a really important aspect for me of the GO-GN networks created.
And
I'm
yourself?
done.
And yourself, Jameson? Are you still there? Martin's muted.
I was trying to get mine to come back on so we had a camera, but I'll work on that after I say my piece. Yeah, I joined the network after basically after it was when we had Cable Green come to visit our campus and do a talk about open education to try and spread awareness there. He's the one that tipped me onto this network. And upon applying and entering, I was able to successfully, get funded to visit Krakow, and my network has only grown greatly. I think everyone in this community that would be interested in the virtually connecting sessions is aware of the importance of these personal learning networks that we all develop in our professions. So this one is just one that's focused on, in particular, on research and being a graduate student with a focus on open education. And so through it, I've met people who have joined me in tweet chats and courses that I teach. I was able to get Rob Farrow to be on my committee. He is adding his expertise and also his critical theory background to my committee to really round out my research. So these are things that I just wouldn't have had access to without this network, and it's really, really made a tremendous impact on what I've been able to do in my work. But we're also now joined by two more people, Bea de los Arcos from the OER Hub, and also Caroline Kuhn from
Passport University in the UK.
So yeah, please, each of you, if you could introduce your relationship to GO-GN.
Oh, will I go first?
Yeah, please.
So I'm Bea de los Arcos. Hi. As Jameson said, I work with Martin and a few other colleagues on the Open Education Research Hub at the Open University in the UK, and we also lead as a team the GO-GN. So in a way, I'm in charge. You could say that I am the one who knows who everything is doing, what everyone is doing, where and when. So I would be kind of point of contact, and in terms of coordinating, what's going on with the GO-GN. Just to put it kind of in very simple terms, really.
Me? Well, I am, as Jameson, I think, well, I'm new. This is my first year here, and I also joined the graduate network and thinking about how one enriches, I think, the view you can have around the big topic of open education, and how people that are looking mainly at the same umbrella or under the same umbrella can enrich your own work. And so I haven't exposed my research. I will do that tomorrow. But it has been an incredible journey today, seeing how people, put their ideas out there and then get great feedback, and only having the chance to talk to people in the breakfast and hearing what they're doing, and I think it's a very safe space where you can really show vulnerability without feeling any threatening feelings. I'm exposing tomorrow, and I'm already thinking, oh my God, do I really know what I'm going to say? And it's a safe space to be in that position, I think, which is very valuable. And then just having fun also, and relaxing space to just make mistakes, I think, or at least put them on the table.
I suppose it's also, I don't know whether you agree with me or not, but we always talk, when we talk about PhD students, right? It's always this idea that doing your PhD students is a very lonely situation. So if you're lucky to be in a group with all those students in your own institution who started at the same time, or maybe there is some kind of a development program in your institution, you see other people, but most of the time what you're doing is just, I know it sounds like a bit, everybody says that, oh, it's so lonely doing a PhD, but it is
the reality.
But there's another thing adding to that, that it is a lonely maybe journey. It's not only lonely, but it is. But in open education, that's another one where you're alone doing research. Not necessarily, but in my university, I'm the only one interested in how can be open for students, and what does need to be in place so open education comes into my university. So again, I'm lonely there. And so being in this network, I think, will give me the tools to maybe see how I can, in my university, say, okay, hey, we need to open up this, and could we think about open education where that has not been the case? So I think that being here gives me strength to say, I'm in a better position to say, hey, let's do that at the university. So it's another adding, I think, value to being part of this network. It gives you, in a way, strength to speak for open, and
Oh, we have Helen Crump joining us. Anyone feel free to jump in any time here.
Hello. Helen, hello.
Hello. Can you see me?
Hey, you made it. No, but we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
I know you can't see them, but on site we have Martin Weller, Jameson Miller, Christina Ranci.
Hi, everybody.
Via de los Arcos and Caroline Kuhn. Helen, are you part of GO-GN as well?
I don't know if you can hear me because I've just arrived, but yes, I joined only 2 or...
Sound's gone now.
Go ahead, we can hear you fine, Helen.
Okay. Yes, I joined GO-GN. Yes, I joined GO-GN 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'm only just at the start of my actual PhD journey. So, and I'm looking at openness as a way of being. So that's what I'm currently. Good to be here.
Wonderful. I love the thumbs up from Deb there. I think this being a lone person in open is always interesting to hear, because a lot of us are dealing with that. I know I'm crazy on to my colleagues.
I think there's an interesting.
Go ahead. That was Dominic, I think.
Martin.
Okay.
I think it was Martin. Yeah.
I recognise that room, Dominic. I was going to say, I think there's an interesting overlap or similarities between what Virtually Connecting does in many ways, you know, about trying to connect people who are otherwise might be a bit isolated or don't have access to a community, and trying to do that through various means. And we're lucky because we get Hewlett funding to do ours, though, so which makes it kind of easier to do. So you have to kind of do a lot of that hard lifting. But I think that they kind of both come into a similar problem, I think, in slightly different ways.
I'd also like to highlight that this is quite a unique perspective for me to gain as an American student, because both years running I've been the only American here with the GO-GN, and my other exposure to open education research has been through the Open Education Conference and the Open Ed group, which is not only made up of almost all Americans and Canadians, but is also focused almost entirely on American or North American contexts. And even though my research is focused on a lot of my own context in Virginia, still the exposure to the diversity of contexts as well as research approaches that I've gained through GO-GN has dramatically impacted my perspectives on what's going on, and it's a real asset. I mean, this is a truly international community that I really appreciate.
There's a question here that Amy is asking, would like to hear how GO-GNers connect specific efforts to cultivate community, combo specifically scholarship. Oh my goodness me. We do, I suppose, there are different things that we do. We from the beginning, what we've tried to do is Twitter as much as we can. So as like what you would consider like the day-to-day communication actually happens on Twitter. Apart from that, what we have is like a mailing list, basically. So what I call the official mailing list. There's actually 2 official mailing lists, in the sense that one of them is the students themselves, so the PhD researchers, and the other mailing list actually goes to supervisors, experts, friends of the GO-GN. And you could ask, like, well, why do you have 2 separate mailing lists? And basically, everyone gets the same announcements, in the sense that, you know, if we have, for instance, when we were telling everybody that we're coming to OE Global, that we're organizing this seminar, or that we have every month we have a webinar. The way, so that email basically comes from me, and the way I communicate with one group of people and the other group of people is completely different. So with the students, I don't know them all personally, but each one of them has to go through me at some stage, in the sense that I am the one who gets the applications. So I kind of it's like they're all my little children. So I know when to poke them, and I know when to, I know when to be nice to them, but I know when to put pressure on them at the same time. While kind of the expert, because I know that on the mailing list goes to kind of very important people, then I need to try and be a bit more formal, a bit more professional, if you think about it. So that's basically the main communications as a communication from the GO-GN team to GO-GN members, right? But it's in terms of how do you engage people, right? I think it's one of the most difficult things. Anything Slack channel that's.
We just started up a Slack channel that we'd be happy to open up.
Yeah, we also have a Facebook group, but I must confess I've taken my eye off the Facebook group because I don't like Facebook. So, but yeah, that's something we need to. But I think what nearly works, what has to work in a sense of if you want to, because we're trying to get, okay, this is a community, and it's like, how do you encourage this sense of community? And I go on about the idea that and these guys are probably tired of listening to me now. It's just give and take, So there's lots of great things that you can take from the GO-GN, as in lots of support, lots of an opportunity to come to these seminars and be here like in person, in the flesh. But at the same time, it's like, what can you give back? And so that's one of the things that we try to talk to people about it. So it's not, if this is gonna work as a community, it's not only about taking, but also about giving something. So how much are you ready to give back? Because the more you give back, is the more you're gonna get. See what I mean? So that's right? Basically.
So is that the website?
That's it, yeah.
And then open up the Slack for everyone. That's a good idea.
But it's something. You know it yourselves, it happens with any community. It takes time and it takes effort, and it takes somebody. It takes and it takes a facilitator as well. There has to be somebody there kind of reminding people, hey, we're here and this is what we're doing and what are we doing next. And so we are looking in a sense that so we have a great team, because it's not only myself, there's Martin, there's Rob, there's Beck, there's Nats. So we, you kind of have to count on, having a good connection from the beginning, I think, having a good team, and then, having the energy to actually go out there and say to people, come on guys, we're doing this together. See what I mean?
Yeah, I think if I can add to that a little bit, it's Chrissy here. I think GO-GN provides like a support, the scaffold, isn't it? And it is like a mentoring mechanism, which starts from the mentoring scale, but also moves to the coaching. So depending on where our needs are as individuals or as groups or subgroups, I think you intervene more or less, depending on our needs. Because I think there are subgroups emerging, developing, forming, that sort of walk, if you like, towards more autonomy, which require less interference from your side. And I think that must be really nice for you to see, actually, that this is happening.
I think increasingly we want that to happen. So we're the facilitating network, but then people support each other in different ways. Yeah. We can help, but we're providing it.
Yeah, so join us.
Debbie had a question earlier, which I think many of us might be willing to answer and would be relevant to this whole mentoring thing. So Debbie, do you want to ask it out loud?
Thanks. Thank you. It was just really whether anybody's got some advice for newbies like myself and Helen, to see, is there anything that you really wished you'd known, or you really wish that you'd done at the start of your PhD studies, really? Just trying to get some advice. So I don't know if anybody's got anything, apart from join the GO-GN network, which is clearly the must at the moment.
Clearly the thing to do. So I wanted to answer the question. That's why I kept insisting that she asks it. So I'm thinking there are three important things that I wish I'd known from the beginning. The first important thing is to seek support wherever you can get it. It's not just your supervisor, even though people outside your supervisory team might tell you things that are contradicting with your supervisor. It's still good to know that in that profession there are other people, and so it's good to have a network like GO-GN, obviously, for that. Thing is, you don't have to do everything your supervisor tells you, and this might seem obvious, and I mean, even though I've been Western educated my whole life, I'm still Egyptian. So I tended to assume that whatever my supervisor tells me as a suggestion is something that I have to do. And I would follow like meekly. And then I realized near the end that actually, no, actually I can push back. And you have this imposter syndrome. I still have imposter syndrome. But you have it a lot when you're a PhD student because you know that you're not there yet. But there, you know you're close. To me, I knew I was close to finishing when I could really tell my supervisor that actually, no, what you're saying doesn't make sense, and I'm not going to do that. And so that was another good thing. And the third thing that I think a lot of people tell you this, but you don't know it ahead of time, that it's okay to be flexible with yourself. Like if you've intended to do something and then you discover that you want to do something different, because you grow. Like it took me 7 years, so who I was when I started is very different than who I was when I was finishing. And I changed direction a lot, and that was all right. And one of the things that, because I did my PhD in the UK without living in the UK, I didn't get enough research methodology grounding. And I got to know a lot more about methodology after I'd finished doing my research. And I realized that it would have been helpful to know beforehand, but it's also different to know it theoretically than when you've done it. So, and, being clear on your methodology, I think, and just being flexible with yourself on that as well is helpful. I'd love to hear what others have to say.
I would like to, if that's okay with everybody. It's Chrissy here. Okay, I wish I had reached out locally much earlier for help. The GO-GN network is great, and I came late to it. But I wasn't sure as a PhD student if I could share my work and openly actually discuss it with other people locally and have just informal conversations about the work. So that would be my tip number one, if that helps anybody. The second one is to share the work with non-academics, with people who are not researchers and maybe are clueless about anything you do, because that will help. That has helped me. I mean, I have shared my work on a daily basis almost with my dear husband, for example, who is not in this area at all, and friends and family. But I think that's extremely valuable because it helps you actually, because when you're doing that work and you talk with academics, you assume certain things and, that you understand what you're talking about. But it's actually to try and explain what you're doing to somebody who's completely in a different area. But it helps you refine and be more precise, I think, in your explanations, how you see things and how you communicate that with others. The third and last one is write, draw, rewrite, redraw, and be creative. Try to capture that process in a range of ways. I mean, often we feel stuck. You write, and you think, oh, this is all rubbish. All day got wasted. Well, not many of us actually have a full day to work on just writing. But try and find minutes here and there and capture the thoughts, because you might be on a bus, you might be driving or in a shower or whatever, with friends having, I don't know, a dinner or something, and something will pop into your head. I think capturing that links to your PhD project, because it's with you, it's in you, isn't it? You live it. So trying to capture these bits that might be actually developing these seeds into something significant and important is important, because it's very easy to get lost and to lose the things you are thinking about.
And I'm Caroline talking here, and I think it is your process. So whatever we tell you is one thing. You have to live that really intensely, and you will have your own journey, and for you maybe something works, some other doesn't work. Just live it at the maximum, because it's an amazing journey. And I think, you then make your own experience in a way. I think it's very personal.
Yeah, but it doesn't always feel like an amazing journey. The reality is really hard sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I say amazing, I think transforming, and amazing in a way that it transforms you. It is painful, it is very painful. Sad sometimes.
Amazing the way childbirth is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. You said it, exactly that.
How do you know?
I'm guessing.
But also, if I can come in, it's related to what Caroline says. Is for me, I think it is. You see, doing your PhD is really okay. It's a journey, but it's you're really training to be a researcher. So it doesn't have to be perfect, and you'll see how once you get your PhD, you go on to do research. Then you see how you're doing things different. So so that's what you have to realize. In a sense, it's like you're doing a PhD because you're training to be a researcher. So you're doing things in a certain way, and you see how you have to justify exactly absolutely everything. So why you go, not only why are you going down this route, but only why are you not going down the 3 other different routes that you have in front of you. So just take it as that's the advice that I got from my PhD supervisors like years ago, and it's like it is a research exercise. You're learning to do research. So there's bound, you're gonna fail sometimes. You're gonna just take it. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It's just basically a research exercise.
You're very intense labor.
Yes. But I think Martin is right. But when you give birth, I mean, you feel there's nothing else on earth that is that painful. And immediately after you've given birth, you can't relive that pain, isn't it? And I think there are parallels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for men, yeah. Well, it's like childbirth in
I've witnessed
intellectual way, I guess.
Yeah, but I think, and from another perspective on it, that I think much like what Bea and Christy were just saying, is that yes, oftentimes I think when going through a PhD, you can't see beyond it. You can't see what's going to be happening there because it seems so big and so immense and so intense. But now that I'm beginning to see that light at the end of the tunnel, or the wrapping up of my own projects, I can see that yes, now I'm going to have to determine what happens thereafter, and what do I do with this knowledge and the privilege that comes with having a doctorate, in my professional career. So it's good. It is a good growth period. So I think what I'm learning a lot, and what I think a lot of my colleagues I'm noticing around me, is that this process of getting a PhD is also a lot about learning how to make decisions. Yeah, and to justify those decisions and to lay claim to them. And this has been, I think I've witnessed in myself and other people, this is a big part of the process. It's learning how to make a call, how to stick to it, learning when you're wrong, how to change your mind, but how to take responsibility for decisions.
The GO-GN community, I think it's more than just a network. For me, it's a community. It gives you that strength and actually to start believing in yourself, because we are brought together, well, annually, the people you bring together, and like Martin said at the beginning, we are at different stages of our journey. To actually see people at the beginning, you can clearly position yourself where you are on that journey and actually see, okay, X has got there. There's hope for me. Yes, I survived, so I can do this. And that gives you strength, I think, and self-belief. But also knowing that there are people around you there to support you, and I think we're all ready to support each other as well.
Are there any more questions from guests out there?
Helen is saying, I think I do the formal voice.
Did you want to make your point you were making here in the chat, Christian?
Oh, sure. I'm happy to. Just regarding the talking to non-academics about your research, about your projects, about what you do, I find that, especially in my private network, so my partner, my friends, everybody that I talk to on a daily basis, they work in completely different areas and have consequently completely different styles and ways of approaching problems, for example. And I find that every time I share something, and I'm nowhere close to doing a PhD, but whenever I share a problem or an approach that I have, and it makes sense to them, the way I do that, the way I approach that, that's usually quite a good hint that I'm on the right track. And it also helps to distill what it is that you're doing in those two or three sentences that you would need in this elevator pitch environment kind of way of approaching people. So if you're able to boil it down to a 60-second, 3-sentence thing, and it still makes sense to people who are not in your world, then you're usually ready to express what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, we started today off with an exercise doing just that, actually, Christian, and it's very useful, I think, because particularly when you're in the middle of a PhD, you can't see the wood for the trees, to use a phrase. It's like and you start talking to a PhD student about the research, and they'll start talking about problems they're having with the methodology, you know, and so they, you know, or like trying to use some formula on their data or something, rather than sort of talking about the actual problem that they're trying to address in a way that's meaningful and stuff. So I think it's a good exercise to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think what helps also is go to conferences and share the work beyond, you know, the GO-GN community, to use every opportunity locally or nationally or internationally if there are the opportunities there. I think even, you know, through events like this one here, and share the work and get feedback from people and engage in conversations about the work.
Helen had a point to make that's really significant, I think. Do you want to say that out loud, Helen?
Do I have my microphone on? Okay. The point we was making was about voice, and I was saying I think I have a very informal way of speaking. And I can't say her name, was saying that you have to have an academic voice when you're in the institution. But I just kind of wish that you could have more accessible language, if that makes sense. So I would I would rather have I'm not too sure what my point is, but I think there should be more place for informality and accessible language. And also about voice, I have been in the Open University for over 12 months, and I have just completed a master's by research. And if you look at before, I was quite happy to blog, and I had quite a confident, I thought, voice. But as a result of being inside an institution for 12 months, I have somehow lost my voice, if that makes sense. I have lost confidence. Somehow something strange happened to me. My natural chatty kind of self, I don't know. So it's important. Yes.
If I might say, I think one of the most important thing is that you be you all the time. It's the only way you can convey honestly what you think. So if your voice is an informal voice, because that is how you embody whatever you are believing and wanting to solve, you just be authentic and in the way you are, who you are, you will convince more people to join your cause.
Okay. True, but my PhD supervisors push back against that. I remember struggling so much with my PhD supervisor because most of you have seen my writing style. It's pretty informal. But for my PhD, he kept making me make it more formal. I kept first person, I kept it relatively simple compared to other PhDs, but he still kept pushing me to make it more formal. That's what I was telling Helen. And it's a very, it's almost a colonizing process because it makes you feel like you're not being your authentic self. But the thing is, there's a limit to how authentic they will let you be, depending on how flexible your supervisor is or your committee or whoever that is. So
it is a I think you're right to point out, Martha. And I guess that to defend the PhD supervisors, of which I'm one, you are training people to become a researcher, and if that's the language that's needed for academic publication to get published, then you kind of help people have that. But I thought your point, Helen, was really interesting about you've kind of lost your blogging voice, because actually that blogging voice is the kind of antidote I have to that kind of the formal academic paper voice you have to have. So you still have another place where you can go off and write and make bad jokes, or and say I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so. That's kind of really important to me to have that as a counterpoint to that. The kind of formal voice, and I don't mind writing in the formal voice, but often there are just some things that are not suited to that, I think.
Penny, are you talking? Penny, I met you in one online course, I think already in 2012, about the old. Do you remember the online course about open design and
yes,
learning?
Yeah.
You were there and I was there, and I remember you very, very well. So and I asked you about a research chapter of a book via Twitter, and now I see that you are you who I thought you were. How funny.
Yeah, well, it's because of that, the old smoke, that I think I'm doing this PhD, really. I think that's the cause of the issue here. It really captured my interest, and so here I am. So that'd be a really good project in its own right, to see what impact MOOCs have on people and what they're doing sort of 5 or 10 years down the track. Because I wouldn't have done this otherwise. I'd probably still be going grey in the classroom. But this is much better. But something else I wanted to say too is that the process of doing a PhD is different in Australia than what I've been hearing from other countries as well. Because I don't have to defend my PhD. For us, the process of doing a confirmation is a much bigger process. I had to go up to Southern Queensland and present that to a panel of people, and it was approved at that stage. Now I don't have to present mine again. So from now on, I'm just writing and reading and chatting to people, and I have to have 3 examiners to examine the thesis, but I don't have to go and defend it. So is that different to everyone else?
If I may say, yeah, we do one progression assessment, which is a mini viva. And so you have to show that you are on a coherent track and that you're more or less knowing what you're doing. And then you keep on doing your research. If they say, yes, it's okay. And then once you have finished, you have to do a big viva with a panel of examiners that will then, I think, fight against you and tell you things, and you need to fight back and say, no, this is why and this is why not. And then I hope you're finished.
But also, I think every 6 months in the UK there's a progress review. Do you have that?
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, I have it once a year because I'm a part-time student. So
okay, I do it part-time as well, but for me it's every 6 months.
Yeah, I do it every year.
At the Open University as well. Every 6 months you do have some kind of a progress report.
Yes, yes, and that's with somebody external to the committee, the supervision team.
Yeah, no,
yes.
it has a 6-month progress report to the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I believe the on-site folks are heading out to dinner here soon, so anything you want to leave before you wrap up on that side? We can continue on virtually here.
So it's great to connect with you lot again, and I'll see some of you at OER 17, and we'll do another session there. But I'll leave it to perhaps Bayer as the GO-GN chief.
Mama.
Mama hen.
Big mama.
Mama hen. Gosh, what have I done? No, I don't know. Just come and join us. If you didn't know about GO-GN before, you do know about GO-GN now. If you're doing a PhD, great. We can support you in your journey. If you're not doing a PhD, that's absolutely fine as well. You know, you can become one of the members of the network, and you know, it's all done on a voluntary basis as well. So the only thing that you get is just probably an email from me every now and then. So and then it's like, again, it's just give and take. So are you ready to give? We'll take it. You know. So yeah, join us. Go to the website. If you go to it's GO-GN.net. You will see there's some kind of a tab that says how to get involved. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but that brings you to there's a link that brings you to a form where you can, you know, so that's a way for us to filter basically who is applying for membership. I mean, you don't have to, you can be just a friend of the GO-GN. You don't need to be, you know, into research or something like that.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us today. And if you're going to jump out for dinner, that's great. I hope Martin gets his cake. And we'll continue here with the virtual crowd.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you.
Enjoy dinner. Bye.
Wonderful. So those of you that haven't been on, we usually hang out for as long as any of us want to hang out after the on-site people leave. We'd like to let them get away and do what they're doing on site. Any thoughts from people here? I know Maha just stepped away. Amy or Christian? Haven't heard from you for a while.
Wait, let me get unmuted. This was amazing. I learned so much, and I'm going to promote and cultivate something like that here with our graduate students. So one of the courses that I teach is a pedagogy course that's open to students across the university. So I have everything from engineers to foresters to counselors to sociologists to communications, just, you know, like really everything. And it tends to be a very diverse and interesting group. And a lot of the kind of benefits of GO-GN that I heard here are things that we sort of see in our local praxis anyway. But now that I'm thinking about the possibilities of amplifying this, we've sort of talked about a distributed JEDI is the acronym we use for this course. We've talked about that before, so this has given me all kinds of food for thought. So thank you. This was great.
It's free for all. Jump in, folks.
Oh. Did somebody say there was a Slack channel organized through GO-GN?
I think they said that, and they were thinking about opening it up, which is supposed to happen soon, if I got it right.
Okay, so I should watch this space.
Yeah, okay. I will do too, so they should let us know somehow.
And autumn's in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We just left the on-site people.
Yeah, I know. I was watching.
Oh, excellent. Good to have you jumping in. What were your thoughts as a watcher?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a great conversation. It's too bad we lost video on them, because that always makes it a little bit hard for me to figure out who's talking, because the only people I really knew were Carolyn and Martin and Jameson. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit hard for me to sort of follow the other ladies who were talking, because it's hard for me to it's hard for me to
being Chrissy, it was bizarre to see the voices coming out of Martin's head.
Right. But it sounds like such an amazing network, and I loved the call at the end, you know, for everybody to join, even if you're not, because I love hearing about people's research, right? I love talking to people. Going back to that idea of the informal voice, I think I have a pretty informal voice, and I love trying to figure out what a person, and that's why I like faculty development, right? Because I really like to figure out what a person's really passionate about and what it is that they're doing, what they're interested in, and then trying to ask questions about and trying to get that to fit into my world. So I think it can be helpful for them as well as interesting for me. I mean, if it doesn't go both ways, then I kind of back away from it. If it seems like I'm annoying them, you know, like, why are you trying to talk to me? I'm trying to be more formal, more academic about these things. But I thought it was a great conversation. I'm really excited about this network.
Jump in. Someone. Helen, Deb. Penny's going back to bed.
Can I ask Mara a question? And I don't think I say your name correctly. What relationship do you have with the GO-GN network, Mara? Are you a mentor, or are you a member, or just...
I don't think I actually have a relationship with them per se. It just so happened a few months ago that they invited Suzanne and me to give a webinar on self as OER. Yeah, and that was the first I'd ever heard of them. And I discovered that Martin's got something to do with it, but I mean, I said yes and agreed to do it and everything without knowing that. So yeah, and then they seem like a great group of people, so. He just wrote, I assume you have a relationship with everyone. That's hilarious. You know, this is actually an interesting thing, because I think I sort of try to do that with networks. Like, I like to have relationships with people rather than just have a network. That's the thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Maha's involved with everything. We just assume so. Other closing thoughts? I know Penny's going back to bed, so it's like 3:30 a.m.
And I have to run because my daughter just woke up. So I'll see you guys. Thank you for a wonderful conversation.
Much, Maha.
Thank you very much.
Any other closing thoughts before we wrap up we're still recording.
I think this person might have already left. Did somebody say that they were researching openness as a way of being?
Oh, well, we didn't say researching. Hang on.
You're good, Helen.
About it. Yes, I'm at the very, very early stages of putting my proposal together, and openness as a way of being, which is pretty much what Mara was thinking about, the self as an open educational resource. So that's when I say I'll be quite comfortable. There's a lot of people who put their ideas out there, okay, and they're putting the idea forward that their conversations could be a resource for others to learn from. And seems pretty straightforward to me that you as a person are an open educational resource. So that's really what has got to me on the starting line of my PhD thinking.
I love that, Helen. I'd like to follow as you develop that more. That sounds great.
I've just also thought of a question that I should have asked Martin and the crowd that were actually at Cape Town in the GO-GN seminar, if I have this correct. He was saying that the GO-GN network are trying to develop researchers as open researchers, if that makes sense. So what I also want to do is how I can put my research openly out there and develop as an open researcher. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Anyway, we'll see. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know your name. I don't need a name.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything you wanted to leave, Deb, before we wrap up? You're muted, Debbie.
No.
There you go.
Oh, hiya. No, just to say thank you. Thanks everyone for all your efforts today. It's really, really helpful, and I really do appreciate it. And like ever, I've learned such a lot today as well. So and I'm going to run off now and feed my children because they're hungry. But I just wanted to say thanks ever so much, and keep in touch.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I hear lots of activity in my kitchen now, so I think I'll go get breakfast ready for the kids. And thank you for joining, Helen and Christian as well, and Amy and Penny and others that were here online. And so I'll wrap up here from OE Global in Cape Town, South Africa. And you've been watching and listening to Virtually Connecting. Anything to wrap up, Autumn?
Thanks for buddying, Ken.
Anytime. It's a pleasure. All right. Cheers, everybody.
It was lovely to meet you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Helen. I'm going to hit the stop broadcast button. Thanks.